Good morning, everyone. Good to be here in Mumbai. I come from Pune. So there's a hangover, when you get up early in the morning and start your day so early. Excellent. Today my topic is about AI-led GCCs, which are building the enterprise backbone with the help of policies, infrastructure, and the innovation mind shift that we are looking forward to. So just to set the context, we would like, I'm not too sure how much you understand about the GCCs and the progress that is happening in today's times. But what we have seen so far, as in the narrative around India has been centered around cost arbitrage, which means that we were always looked ahead as a supporting hubs, right? We used to do a lot of support, call center kind of roles. But today, with the shift of mindset and with this shift of policies and infrastructure, we are reclassifying this definition as from technology service providers to national infrastructure, which means that we will now be doing anything and everything which is to do with the designing, manufacturing, testing, till packaging, and not just do the back-end supports. So if we look at the kind of evolution that we have done. Everybody, I'm not too sure if most of you all know about the Texas bullock cart story. Like, anybody who is aware about it? How does GCC came in India? What was the, how did it got invented? How it came in picture? So there's a long story. You can go back and Google, but then the long story, just to cut it short, in the previous era, we never had the kind of infrastructure, the network penetration, or maybe the connectivity, which was in line with the kind of GCCs or the business that we were trying to attract to India. What happened was back then in 1985, we had to kind of import the servers, machineries, and the equipments, whatever are needed to set up an organization through a bullock cart. Right, so that was the era which we have started from, and the way we have evolved right from the early adoption, from captives to BPOs to GCCs, from GCCs to now what we call it as GICs, which is Global Innovation Centers, and now into production. So this is the entire life cycle of the GCCs that is getting performed in India today. And if we look at the kind of services and role transformations that we have done so far is all on the stake. So all in all, in this entire journey, we have shifted ourselves from night shift to the nervous systems. And now what is the current ecosystem in GCCs? Now if we look at what we have achieved so far we have 1800 plus GCCs in India, which brings in around $65 billion, which kind of economy that gets added to the Indian economy. And we cater to slightly more than 55% of the global GCC centers, which means even with these unstable policies and unstable readiness from our side, we are still been able to achieve more than 55% of the global innovation share so far. So with the progressive policies, we would be targeting to go beyond $100 billion in the coming few years. If you look at the city-wise bifurcation or the state-wise bifurcation, if I may say, previously we never saw participations from all the states to kind of come in and invest in their own states. But today, if we see, the states are actually competing with each other, which means they are coming up with a lot of advancements, policies, incentives, discounts, and schemes, which can actually attract all of these GCCs to their own cities. Few of them have given a waiver on the electricity bills. You have land subsidiaries. You have patent refunds, etc. So all of this happens when the cities are actually wanting to have more business and advancement to their own states. So all of this put together forms a flywheel of trust, where we can present or we can represent India strongly as a manufacturing, innovation, and deep tech sandbox. That's where we are now. Now, as I was saying that, we are currently adding $65 billion economy through GCCs, but what is our target in the near future till 2030? We have a target of $100 billion that we want to reach. Now, if you have to reach there, now, if you want to bring in the formula cars in India, right, what is that you need? You need to have the road infrastructure which could actually smoothly, enable you to drive that car on the road, to have the experience or the lavish experience of that car. Secondly, you need to have enough fuel, which means the process. And then you need to also have the trained drivers for it. So if you do not have these three things, you would not be able to attract or enjoy the ride. Similarly, if we are attracting more GCCs or more AI-led GCCs in India, we need to solve certain puzzles. Now India has been almost, India has been able to solve almost of the puzzle here, majorly which was falling under infrastructure and networking penetration. Now, infrastructure, definitely when we say this, it's all about the good roads. You need to have better connectivity. You need to have fancy or high-class buildings which are well equipped, right from your, food court to washrooms to, the sick rooms to gym and shower room, etc. So that has to be high-class equipped retail store inside the room, hospital inside the room kind of thing. And then you need to have an appropriate SEZ buildings also, which play a lot of role in terms of taxations and all of that. And then, again, in terms of network and connectivity, when we say this, even today in some villages, we do not have proper internet connectivity or mobile connectivity. So now that issue also needs to be resolved, otherwise you would not be able to flawlessly operate. That is one. Second is, of course, about the startup funds. Now, India has come up with a lot of startup fund policies where they give you, we already have around 158,000 startups who have established themselves, and with the good policies that the government has come up with. So this is how you can attract startups. In education system, like you all have been from that background, right? So unless and until we do not align our education techniques and syllabus according to the latest requirement of AI and GCCs, we would not be able to scale very far, in a very short span. And of course, then we have a lot of other national AI, AI missions where we have 506 proposals already in place. Semiconductor missions, I'm not too sure if you've been reading these policies and all, but from 1.0 to 2.0, there has been a lot of difference that has happened. India is clearly wanting to move from C to S, which is chip to startups, which means they've already invested around 4,000 crores just focusing on the electronic manufacturing, right? So these are few of the puzzles, gig workers, all of this, which has actually made India enable itself to kind of stand up strongly and invite all the GCCs in India. And towards the right side of the slide, you would be able to see what are the policies, state-wise government has come up with so as to attract, and what are the target GCCs also for that matter. The highest one, I believe, is Uttar Pradesh, which they have also touched upon a very sensitive point of payrolling. So they are kind of investing around 1.2 to 1.7 lakhs of rupees per employee per year in terms of promoting this entire ecosystem. Now this slide will look like an, like looking at the audience, it will look like a finance paper to you, but don't worry, I will not deep dive into the numbers here, but we will just touch upon certain points. So what this basically tells us about where is that we have to kind of bring ourselves up. So in terms of AI capital, policies and ecosystems that will help us to scale. So what happens here is we have now seen 6,000 plus startups who have already established themselves with 4% of year-on-year progress, right? So this is what we have been able to see. Because of which the kind of huge players in the market like Google, Microsoft, Goldman Sachs, L'Oreal, these kind of companies have already been heavily investing in India because they see a momentum that they needed from such a long time. And then, of course, we spoke about the policies, etc., which definitely are acting as a backbone to the entire process of getting the AI-led GCCs. And now here is a quick bifurcation which all industries are optimizing the AI tools. Now, in my organization, Quest, we do a quarterly GCC report which gets published on quarterly basis. It is quite evident from our reports that more than 50% of the demands are coming in from AI, semiconductors, machine learnings, and all of these AI-related cloud data centers and all, which means 40 to 45% demands are falling only under these categories. So this is something that we have to look upon, that in future, the repetitive jobs, like coming to BFSI for that matter, I see the chatbots and virtual assistants. In my portfolio that I had in Quest, I had the ITES and BPM vertical, where I manage more than 50% of the entire workforce of QITS, which means if we have 6,000 workforce at the organization level, I manage more than 50% of it. So I have 8 industries that I look after, right, from products, services, healthcare, retail, BFSI, oil and gas, construction, manufacturing, all of these, telecom. Recently, what I've seen is in telecom, in BFSI industries, the chatbots are actually taking away a lot of human jobs. And it should, because it is now a very irrelevant jobs. Like, there's a very common question that comes up from, last time I was in Indira University in month of November, I think most of the questions were revolving around, will AI take away human jobs and things like that. But if we are not upgrading ourselves, or if we are not aligning with the latest ask of AI, definitely we will fall back. We cannot be using old versions of iPhones when you have the new versions getting introduced in the market. So that is one point. So in chatbot, coming back to the chatbot thing, what happened is there were back and forth discussions between me and the customer because they wanted to roll off certain number of candidates immediately from the projects. And when we deep dived into it and understood, tried to understand what is the core reason, the reason was they were chat support candidates, and now this organization has aligned with a chatbot thing where this chatbot is so efficient that it can understand, it can resolve, and it can give you in written the solution with 12 different languages. So that chatbot is so efficient and so linguistic that it can talk to you or communicate with you, talk in a sense through the chat, communicate with you in 12 different languages within fraction of seconds. So if somebody like this can do this job, then why would you invest in a human or get into the linguistic candidates? So similarly, a lot of other industries are also leveraging this AI-related skill sets. Healthcare, diagnosis assistance. Last month, my husband was, there at a hospital for a checkup. And then we realized, it was all robotic operated, right? From your liver, lungs, heartbeats, everything was operated through the AI robot. And then a very fine report comes out which says that where is the problem, what do you need to do, which medicines you need to, take up, and what kind of diet chart you should follow, and things like that. So it is all automated. And in retail also, if you all are on Instagrams and all, if you buy something through websites of Amazon, Myntra, etc., once you buy certain project, you will see that there is a tendency that you receive similar kind of pop-ups or recommendations around it. Why it happens? Because it is because of the predictive AI. So AI, generative AI, predictive AI, all of these are playing their own roles. And most importantly, aerospace and automotive industry, right? Even if you see in festivals, if you want to go home, suddenly you will see the spike in the rates and all. It's not a sudden thing, it is a predictive AI. Looking at the season, the month, or the festivals, the price get fluctuated, the train prices, the flight prices, everything gets fluctuated because the predictive AI is playing its role. Similarly, it also plays a very crucial role in the stock market as well. So that is how, and ADAS, this Advanced Driving Assistance System, I just had an experience a few days ago. I think it is unbelievable, like, India, the way when you're conversing and, your mind is not, or your concentration is not on the road, and this, gives you an alert that, you might just bang into, any of the corners, you are saved, your life is saved. And I think we are not so far from having the automated drivers or auto-driven cars also majorly coming on Indian roads today with the help of AI and generative ACCs. And this is the second slide that I would like to come to, intelligent backbone. So these are all the core areas where we would want to focus and bring in the ability. Now it is high time that we need to take the center stage. We need to take the ownership of P&L. We need to move from POCs to production, and that shift of mindset is extremely essential to adopt these changes. Second focus should definitely be on the talent pool enhancement. While we are attracting so many GCCs to India, do we really have that kind of talent pool? So reskilling, upskilling, or aligning with the reputed institutions and universities is extremely essential, and these people play a lot of crucial role. Right, as we just said, that right from moving from the legacy and traditional way of teaching and the techniques, we should be aligning ourselves with the institutes who adapt to these changes. And the final thing is about the leadership. Now, even if you have these projects, you have been successful in getting everything that is performed, everything that we are aspiring, and then if you do not have the right leader to lead this, then it definitely becomes a problem. So the leadership mindset, the leadership adoption, the speed that the leader needs to cope up with the speed of technological and progressive changes that we have today, right? So all in all, it's like it is time that we should shift ourselves from the short-term projections to the long-term value creation, right? And finally, I'm not sure how many of you have seen this movie, iRobots. Nobody has seen this movie? It's quite surprising. Looking at such movies, this is what you need to see in the future. There are a lot of movies like such, but I've just picked up randomly iRobots. What does this movie teach us is about the robotics, the automation, the AI, etc. And it clearly gives a message that AI is very, very powerful, but it has to be programmed or processed by human. Right? So together we should be able to adopt to these new changes. We should be able to experiment. We should be able to learn from these experiments and progress together. That's all I have from my side. Thank you very much. Yeah, sure. Thanks. Very excellent question. I think so very relevant with the topic that I was presenting. Well, I will just relate this with the current use case and the realistic use cases that I've been able to see, as I just mentioned about one of the BFSI customer who is actually laying off all the chatbot resources. These resources, when they entered into that project, were definitely the freshers. They came up only with the typing speed and few of the assessments that we did in terms of correct analytics, and all of those. So I believe that what is that which is very, very essential is we should not come up with the roles like, the call set. So what was the first question? I'm sorry. So yes, so entry-level jobs are getting reduced because of these things, because earlier the entry-level jobs were into chatbots, call centers, or maybe operational aspects of it, or network support kind of a thing. Now recently, there is something that has happened with the BFSI thing. Similarly, I'm able to see it with the industry like retail also, where there is a call center and now everything is getting automated. However, what are the skills, or what is the side that I've seen where the entry-level skill sets are enhancing are into medical coders. Even now, there is no AI who is able to get the freshers or the entry-level jobs for medical coders. Now I have more than 500 positions for one of the healthcare industries for medical coders. So this is one of the aspect to it. Second is about networking, network support. Again, network support has two kinds in it. Network support may you need to have a proper, your language has to be efficient. You need to be proficient in your English speaking. You have to have technical knowledge a bit to kind of, like I said, I have products also. So when you call to kind of get the operational support, that is another network solution role, where what we usually do is we run a lot of hire, train, and deploy models. So when it comes to the entry-level people, aligning with the industry ask what I have, we run a program called HTD programs. So here we hire, train, and then the assessment is taken from the client side, and we deploy these candidates. So L2 support, L1 support is also one of its kinds where you can kind of definitely get into it. And I think more of KYCs from banking and all, right, more of KYCs, AL, ML kind of requirements are ones which definitely are taking up the space. Right. Any more questions?